Getting vaccinated overseas doesn't have to be a headache. We're about to share what we learned.
The hard way.
A lot more expensive.
Substantially high.
Substantially higher than what we budgeted for, so ouch.
Hi, I'm Justine.
And I'm Daryl.
And we're the Breakaway Bravehearts. And we started off making it a bit of a how-to about getting vaccinated abroad, but it turned into a bit of a disaster movie.
And that's another reason why you plan in advance and maybe do it in the bigger cities.
Do it slightly different to what we did.
Yeah.
Definitely. Learn from what we didn't do.
So there's several reasons you might need to get a vaccination while you're already travelling. It could be that there is an unexpected outbreak in the country that you're in or the country that you are planning to travel to. It could be that in certain areas, different countries within those areas, say for example Africa or Asia, have different requirements. Or it could be that you need a booster. Not all vaccines are lifelong.
We have been going through the UK and Europe, and we've had this opportunity to go to Asia. This is like an opportunity to be able to do some volunteer work, which is something that I've been looking forward to doing for quite some time now. So we applied for visas and we got them. And then it was like, oh no! But what about our jabs? So we find ourselves in a completely different country and we need to get ourselves some vaccination.
So what's our mission today?
Well, we've got to go and get ourselves vaccinated, or at least try and find what's called an SID.
Yes, because we tried just going to medical centres and getting vaccinations. It's not as simple as that at all. We have a number, so far the process has been we've got a list of phone numbers to call. We've called them all and they're either booked out weeks in advance or they don't speak English. Fair enough, it's Spain. But we did find out yesterday, our latest information is in order to get a vaccine first, we need a SID number, right? SID number or something.
That's correct, yeah. To be honest with you, we don't know what that involves, but other than to go to a hospital and they're then supposed to be able to give us one. So we'll find out.
Yeah. So I'm going to say at this point that Daryl's not exactly a fan of vaccinations. Yeah, not a huge fan. I wouldn't call you an anti-vaxxer, but he does it very, very reluctantly. We're not going to go into detail as to why. You're welcome to leave your comments if you wish, but we do actually need them in this case. It's not legal for Vietnam. There are no legal requirements, but it is for our insurance. So that's one thing you need to think about. Some people have this fear that vaccines are going to be riskier or are not safe in foreign countries. It really is more of a myth than truth. However, it does pay to be prepared. So as long as you've done your research and you know which vaccines are regulated by WHO, the World Health Organization, you'll know what to look for in terms of brands. And as long as you look for certified clinics, again, they will be registered with the World Health Organization. They'll have to follow regulations. They'll be checked up and certified. You should feel safe.
So let's just jump in.
So at the moment we're at the bus stop on our second go. Yesterday it just didn't work because Google Maps told us that the bus stop was in a different place. The bus never arrived. The timetables on Google Maps are also very different to what they are over here. So we're not 100% sure if we're in the right place, if we've got the right time, if we're going to the right place. Who knows?
Tip number 1, research, but don't rely on it.
We started with a lot of research. I checked as many different websites as I could find using a Google search, just how to get vaccinated while in Spain. Now there's a trick here. You really have to be careful about the websites that you're looking at. And so the ones that you can really trust are the CDC or WHO, or government specific websites to the area that you're in. A lot of the times what popped up for me was actually private clinics, which is fine. They're perfectly reputable, and you've got to be a little bit cautious because they may be charging you for things you don't actually need. Whereas the government website, you're more likely to find out exactly what is necessary and not necessary. Whatever country you're in will have a specific ending to the URL for that government, and then you'll know it's a trusted website.
It's Alicante?
Alicante.
Ah, it's Alicante. Okay, gracias. So far we've had 2 go to Alicante, and we are yet to wait for one that goes the other direction, Torrevieja, which is where we need to go. Ne? Alicante. So a very wise Irishman once told me that the timetables here are pretty screwed. Just trying to work out. That's now 3 buses via Alicante.
Another way that we researched was by talking to locals, which was helpful and not so helpful, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. It depends how long they've lived here and when was the last time that they went through the experience, because things can change fast. So keep asking as many times as possible, even though that is really confusing sometimes. But one guaranteed place that should know is your embassy or your consulate. They will give you the most up-to-date advice, and they can recommend doctors that you can speak to.
Ah, okay, rightio. Yes, okay. So going to a pharmacy and then I can come to you. Oh, okay, right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Okay, so we've been advised incorrectly by the sounds of things, because we are not Spanish. The Spanish is an SID, so that's obviously Spanish ID number. But he says that you've got to make sure that the pharmacy has what we need from a vaccination point of view. We can only do it privately rather than Spanish, on the Spanish government.
Did he happen to mention how much it's going to cost?
I didn't think to ask. I think I gained a bit of a lump in my throat as I heard, as I mentioned private, but we'll see.
But one of the reasons why we struggled so much was that we got different information from really different sources. We triangulated our information by trying online phone calls and talking to people, but everyone just told us something different. There's lots of reasons for this. One is, like I said, sometimes it just changes really, really quickly. And particularly because we're in Spain, things have changed since Brexit. And in a lot of countries that we've travelled to in the past, like Montenegro, for example, things change rapidly and many people just not entirely sure what's going on. Also, in larger countries like Spain, it can be different in each region. So what happens in Valencia is not necessarily what's going to happen in other parts of Spain. So locals may not know. And the other reason is that sometimes we didn't actually know what it was we were supposed to ask, because we don't know the full process. We weren't really asking the right questions. And that's where it gets quite tricky. Like they're trying their best to help you out, but you're not asking the right things. They don't understand your situation fully. So we had that situation here in Spain, didn't we, where we got some great information. We went to follow through in it, and then it turned out the information that we were given was based on their assumption that we already had Spanish national cards, were residents here, which of course we're not.
Okay, so the doctor's advice was to go to a pharmacy. We are now in the centre of Torrevieja and we have gone to the pharmacy. They kindly gave us some information, which has given us a bit more of an update on what we are supposed to do. There's some that you cannot get directly from the pharmacy. So she has said that we have to go to either Olihuelva main hospital to have those vaccinations done properly and legally, or Alicante. This is probably why you need a lot more time to organise these things and work out dates. But we need prescriptions from a doctor. Some people believe that you can't get vaccinated without local health insurance. This is actually a myth. You can, however, it might leave you a little bit out of pocket, which we'll cover later.
So I'm feeling a little frustrated and also a little untrusting, if that's the word, because we've had so many different stories now and it's doing my head in. It shouldn't be. I've lived in other countries before. I know that, there's lots of different reasons why I'm not getting the full information, but I'm going to check again just for my own peace of mind. I'm going to ask one more time. This is the pharmacy nearest to the doctor. The doctor told us this morning that we go to the pharmacy first and ask about vaccines. So wish me luck.
So that leads us nicely on to tip number 2, which is travel with your medical records, particularly your vaccine documentation, and understand your own needs in detail. When I first started traveling, which was 15 years ago now, I just kind of rocked up to my doctor, said I'm going to Asia, and within half an hour I had all the vaccines that I needed. I didn't really fully understand what he was giving me because I trusted my doctor, I knew him very well, didn't really go through it in detail. Now that I'm here, we needed to know exactly, didn't we?
So in our instance, we were told to first go to a pharmacy before we could get anything administered by a doctor. So it was imperative that we knew what it was we needed. So we had to work out which ones were long life, which ones we needed a booster for, or literally which ones we were in need of.
So it's not just about working out which vaccines you need, but being really specific and getting very detailed. So you might want to do the research yourself on particular brands, because there'll be different brands in different countries and not all will meet international standards. You also want to check what the side effects are, because again, different brands might have slightly different side effects, so you want to check those out too. And lastly, you need to work out, are they live vaccines, in which case they'll need to be refrigerated. Different vaccines have different storage methods, and so you want to make sure you're getting one that's been stored correctly. So when you go to purchase it, if that's what you need to do, then make sure it's been stored in the right way. And you're welcome to ask those questions, but you won't know to ask those questions unless you've done your research first.
All right, so now I have another phone number.
Okay.
So this is possibly for the vaccination centre in Alicante. He doesn't really know, but if this number doesn't work, call the hospital and ask them for the number. So they don't trust the internet either. But according to them, for these vaccinations that we need, we have to go to the Alicante Vaccination Centre.
Okay.
There's 3 of them in there, and one of them had just travelled a month ago, so that was their advice.
Would you consider us closer to our quest?
I consider us to be in exactly the same place we were 2 days ago when we started this mission. Well, actually 2 weeks ago when we started researching it on the internet.
Okay.
Same place.
So what advice do you have up to this moment then?
Hard to say because we still don't know the answer. So we don't know who's given us the right advice because none of it has actually led us to the right answer yet.
Okay.
You know, so I think my best advice at this point is think at least 2 months ahead.
Tip number 3, give yourself plenty of time. What we found out, just from a Spanish point of view, is that we would first have to go to a doctor who would then have to recommend whatever it was we needed to allow us a prescription to go to the pharmacy. And it was there at the pharmacy that you would give your money gladly for some injection stuff that's going to go into your arm or wherever. Then it would be administered by the hospital or wherever it was you choose to go. Oh, looks like Labara or Google Maps has decided to close down on me for the moment. So another challenge.
It looks like you left the route, so I'll reroute you.
It only,
In 50 meters, turn right onto Calais Los Emilios.
Oh, right. Why right?
So each of these things is actually a separate activity. The doctor's appointment, the pharmacy, and then the administration of the vaccines. But they're all 3 separate activities that are not necessarily going to happen on the same day. However, there is a proviso there, and this is why you need to do your research, because if your vaccine is live, then you do have to do it within a certain time frame. It has to say cold. So you've got to make sure you're organised in advance so that when you purchase the vaccine, you're ready to have it administered straight away. Having said that, the trick is that not all pharmacies hold all the vaccines. But you don't know that until you know which vaccines you need.
This is why you have to make time your friend.
Okay, so now we're at the doctor that we spoke to yesterday on the phone.
Yes.
We knew he would be closed by now. because of the hassle with the buses. We knew we would never be able to get here in time before his closing hours. But it seems he does have afternoon hours, which wasn't advertised on Google, was it?
As far as I understand, it's just open till 12.
Yeah. So now our choices are, do we hang around and check to see if the sign is correct and go in the afternoon and ask, for fear of getting the same information that we got on the phone and having to pay for it? I'm feeling skeptical because what he told us on the phone doesn't seem to be correct. We've been to 2 pharmacies and we can't get the vaccines, like he said. But maybe that's because he didn't understand what vaccine we wanted.
You know, at the end of the day, it sounds like a lot of these ones, now we have to make sure we do it either directly in Alicante or in Olivuela, or whatever it's called. Yeah. So there we go.
So what are we going to do?
Choices. We got to make a decision. So what's it going to be? Thinking man. So depending on the vaccines that you need, you will need some time, like recovery time. You might feel a little ill after you've had the vaccinations. You know, they do give you an idea of what the side effects will be, and it generally is more uncomfortable or sicky feelings, feeling like flu-y symptoms or whatever like that. So you have to prepare yourself a couple of days, put aside, so you can get past it.
Day 3, got the phone number that the guy gave us. It didn't work yesterday because they close at midday and by then it was already 2. So, trying again now. Wish me luck.
Solicitar cita por internet indicando en su buscador, La Salud también viaja y a continuación seleccionar nuestro centro.
I don't know what he said.
Buenos días, centro de vacunación.
Hello, may I speak in English, please? Hello? 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 So we ended up focusing on the Spanish National Government International Vaccine Center. That's what it's called in English. And this was helpful to a certain point because at one stage I used my mobile phone. It gave me an option to make an online appointment, but I couldn't get any further. I got stuck in that process. Now, it turned out later on, when I tried again on a laptop, it was fine. So actually, it wasn't operating on a mobile. The website didn't work properly in mobile format. So that's one tip. If you can, try and use it on a laptop. All right, this works. I'm now in the International Vaccination Center for Alicante. Nothing. There's literally nothing on the page. Oh, this is nerve-wracking. It's still literally nothing. I'm staring at a blank page. Yeah, I'm going to refresh and try again. Okay. So there's obviously nothing available today. Didn't expect there to be. Let's have a look at Monday. No. The entire day says no. Change date. Nothing. 30th of October. Nothing. Nothing. 6th of November. Nothing. We're now getting up to 1 week before we fly. Nothing. And by then we have to leave to go to Madrid. So we're out. Alicante is not going to work for us. We are not able to get vaccinations in Alicante. I'm going to try Madrid and see if maybe we can get them there. So Madrid didn't even bother to give me dates. It just literally comes up. There are no appointments available before your trip. So that's 3 weeks. That's not enough time. Okay, there are available dates in Valencia. 28th of October. That is Monday. Okay, it looks like we have an appointment. Now we just got to work out how to get to Valencia. So tip number 4 is be over prepared. Take everything you possibly can in terms of ID, because you might need multiple forms. If you have your medical records, make sure you've got them both online, and if you can possibly get a printout, that's great, because you might be asked a lot of questions that you'll need ready answers to. And of course, a copy of your health insurance if you're going to be using insurance for it.
You might need a regular address as well. That was something that they were looking for.
Oh yes, that's right. We were fine giving them our temporary address in Valencia. We were only there for one night and they were okay with that. So now we are in Valencia. And we've just traversed through the back streets. Saw some nice sights. It's quite a pretty city. In parts.
So we got here probably about an hour later than we'd expected, but we're here on time. That's the most important thing.
That's right. I have an appointment in my email confirmed. His appointment didn't show up in his email. It's not in your spam either, is it?
Nope.
So fingers crossed on that one. We're about to find out.
Great.
You may also need to take cash or check in advance if they're going to accept a card, and be prepared to maybe spend more than what you originally expected. We got a little bit of a shock. We were expecting to pay, but I have to be honest, it was a lot more than what I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was double pain.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which one hurt the most, actually.
Okay, success. We have vaccines. Look,
Yeah.
I got this.
I'll show you mine, but I don't think I can. It's not quite showing.
Very nice doctor in there, very nice nurse who helped us. It was a bit of a process, a quite unexpected process though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to go and talk to a consultant first, which was what the appointment was for.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went through every single vaccine and checked it for us. It was good how he went through each one so he could double check, okay, do you really need this? And
That's right.
He opted not to go with malaria in the end, which was interesting, wasn't it? But then after you speak to the consultant, then you get prescriptions, and then you take the prescriptions to the pharmacy. And here's where it gets a bit tricky, because not every pharmacy will have the prescription that you need. So you do have to be aware of that. And that's another reason why you plan in advance and maybe do it in the bigger cities.
Do it slightly different to what we did.
Yeah.
Definitely. Learn from what we didn't do.
So then, you pay for your prescription at the pharmacy. So we didn't have to pay for consultation, but the prescription was a lot more expensive.
Substantially high.
Substantially higher than what we budgeted for. So should we tell them?
Drum roll, please.
It's 350 euros for the both of us. Out. So then you come back here and they administer the vaccine for you straight away. So that was pretty cool. It's done.
So now we've got a couple of days of feeling groggy and like muscular pain. So there you go. That's what your 350 quid's worth, 350 euros worth gets you.
And tip number 5 is to follow up and make sure you get the paperwork after your vaccine. So ask, if you're not instantly offered, for a vaccine record that's got the date and the brand of the vaccine that you received. Make sure you get a receipt in case you need that as well for insurance or for later on. You'll want to take a photo of all these documents too, so that you've got it safe online somewhere as well. And then store it with your travel documents, because you might be asked for it when you're going through a border crossing.
Now, obviously, Justine and I went together, so therefore we didn't have anything to worry about when we were surprised that we didn't get the 15-minute sit down to see if there were any side effects or whatever like that. So our advice to you is to, if you're single and you're going to do this, then please take someone along with you, because it could be that you aren't asked to sit for 15 minutes, and it's better to let someone know where you are, just in case there are some form of side effects that happen. Okay, so for us, it was a happy ending. We managed to get our vaccinations all within a certain amount of time that we needed to have them done. So, gosh, thank goodness. And thanks to the medical professionals, because they were just so informative and very, very helpful. Even, being able to try and help speak in our language. I mean, they even showed us the areas of the high infectious areas of the countries that we were visiting. So we were really impressed. We found people just so willing to try and help. It's just about those details. So we hope that these tips have been helpful to you and that you will feel prepared and confident for your next onward travel.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments.
Yes, do so. If any of you have actually had experience of traveling like this or had to have a vaccination within a foreign country, please do put it in the comments so that other people can see what it was that your experiences were.
So we're ready to head off to Vietnam, and we're very excited to do so. We hope you'll join us there. Until then,
Happy travels, everyone. She did it the other way.